Welcome in everyone to the Larsonland podcast. I'm your host, Sawyer Hill, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Dylan Bradshaw. We come on here every single Wednesday and talk about all things involving the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series champion, Young Money Kyle Larson. It wasn't the busiest week of racing for Kyle, however, we did get to see the Eldora Million on Thursday. If you watched or listened to the podcast last week, I called it. Jonathan Davenport was able to pick up the win and became the second ever $1 million man in dirt late model racing. Unfortunately, things did not go as well this weekend for Kyle Larson and the HendrickCars.com number 5 team at Sonoma. The weekend got off to a pretty good start. He was fastest in practice. He sat on the pole. But Dylan, I got to ask, man, what were your thoughts heading into race day on Sunday? Because I definitely thought that Kyle Larson was pretty much en route to his second Cup Series win of the season.
Yeah, picking up his fifth Sonoma pole in a row, I definitely thought that he was the car to beat. Watching him go around those turns, his exits, they were just phenomenal. He was just miles ahead of all the other drivers. But we saw him dominate in the first stage where he led every lap. But we ended up following last year's strategy. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, and he was stuck deep in traffic in the second and third stage. But yeah, I definitely think he had the car to beat. Elliott was the second fastest in my opinion. Unfortunately, him and Larson, kind of got screwed in pit road there, and but not much you can do there. So yeah, Larson and Elliott fastest. Busher was very fast. Suarez, who actually picked up the win, he was fast, but overall, I would say Larson was the fastest, and just really unfortunate outcome.
Definitely very unfortunate. He finished 15th in Sunday's race. Like you said, I kind of want to touch on that strategy call. Um, Obviously, Larson led the whole entire first stage of the race. He was kind of gapping Chase Elliott there. I think there was one caution early in that first stage for Bubba Wallace, but both times when Larson got going, he stretched out a good 2.5 second lead over Chase Elliott, and it looked like that Larson was really going to be the dominant car after that. But like you said, I mean, that strategy call, they tried to kind of do what they did last year, where Larson won both stages and won the race, was able to pass pretty much every car in the field like 3 times. And I just think with the next gen car, and maybe it was a little bit of the course layout being different from last year, I think it wasn't as easy to for Kyle Larson to work his way up through the field.
Yeah, last year's strategy, different car, different, track layout, didn't work out. But yeah, I mean, Larson he was significantly faster than the rest of the field, especially on turns 9, 10, and 11. He was just way faster. And, then later on, we obviously saw the unfortunate loose wheel incident that happened at his stage three pit where the 28 to go, the last cycle of green flags pits took place. And we saw him drive off with the loose right front, but as soon as he took a right turn at turn two, the entire wheel, came off. So costly for the team. Cliff Daniels, front changer Donnie Tasser, and Jack and Brandon Johnson, they will be suspended for the next 4 races, and that makes it the 10th suspension this season for a wheel to come off on the track. And who do you think the crew chief is going to be for these next 4 races? We talked about it a little bit. The crew chief is to be determined, so it's kind of up in the air. People are kind of throwing out the Chad Knaus nod, but who do you think the crew chief will be?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of different options when it comes to the crew chief there on the 5 car. Um, Unfortunately, Cliff Daniels is going to be out for 4 races, and I know a lot of people are speculating that Chad Knaus could be a good replacement there, but he does have a really big role at Hendrick Motorsports. He's kind of focusing on all 4 teams every single week, so personally, I don't think Chad Knaus is going to be filling that role, but I know we talked about it or yesterday. What is it, something Mendering? He was the crew chief. He's the crew chief that was actually for Jimmy Johnson in 2019 or 2018, excuse me, um after Chad Knaus split with Jimmy. Mendering was the crew chief there for a year before Cliff Daniels came in, and he's supposed to be the crew chief on that 17 car in the Xfinity series that Hendrick is doing later in this season. So I think that might be an option. But I don't know. Maybe sometimes teams do the car chief. So Jesse, the car chief, maybe he'll step into that role. But I think regardless, I think Hendrick Motorsports, they have a lot of depth. all across the board, I think that we'll be fine these next couple of races without Cliff.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much panic. Everyone's kind of panicking after, seeing that happen and Cliff kind of, getting suspended the 4 races. But I mean, he's not going to completely be out of it. He's going to be in the war rooms. He's going to be showing up to Hendrick. He's going to be giving everyone the rundown. So, he's still the crew chief. He's still, filling the duties as crew chief leading up to the Nashville race next week. So, whoever steps in the box for the Nashville race and the other 3 races following, I think we will be fine because Cliff Daniels will still, be running point behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, in my opinion, it's kind of you can kind of relate it to like the NFL over the past couple of seasons with the COVID protocols and stuff like that, where a head coach, might not be able to be there on game day with the team, but still behind the scenes, that head coach was kind of in the meetings virtually and stuff like that. So I think Cliff Daniels' presence is still going to be felt, and a lot of his, core strategy is still going to be used in these upcoming 4 races that he's unable to going to be unable to be at the track. So not really gonna harp on the tire thing too much here in the podcast. Like you said, 10 teams have had this suspension happen already so far this year, and it's just it's tough. I think NASCAR definitely needs a different approach when it comes to suspensions for this, or maybe penalizing in a different way. But definitely, we've talked about it before enough, so I don't really think we need to harp on that moving forward. So going into next week, it's the off weekend for the NASCAR Cup Series. We don't really expect Kyle Larson to be on track with any dirt stuff, but when they come back the next weekend, we're back at another track where Kyle Larson is the defending winner there at Nashville.
Yeah, excited for Nashville. Like you said, we have the off week, so another Nashville race in store this season, and it is the Ally 400 that'll be June 26th at 5 p.m. Eastern time, and Larson will aim to defend his 2021 win there. He completely dominated last year. He led 264 out of the 300 laps, and I've noticed that's something we're not seeing too much of this year. We're not seeing guys rack up even over 100 laps led really. So not a lot of laps led this year for Kyle, but there's been the races where he comes out with the fastest car and something always seems to stop him from, getting in contention with the win. But yeah, what do you think about that? We're not seeing a lot of laps led by guys. It's kind of, split among the field. There's not just one guy dominating the entire race.
Yeah, I think definitely everybody kind of expected that a little bit with this next gen car being a little bit more even, kind of blank notebooks heading into the season on this car. Very few opportunities to test. So I don't think we see teams with big advantages. I think that we are kind of seeing some of the changes happening where Hendrick is. I think Hendrick is getting a little bit better, and I think definitely last week at Sonoma, it looked like Hendrick was really on top of their stuff, especially with Elliott and Larson. It kind of reminded me of a race like last year where you know fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying, and just like out of the gates, Larson was fast. And I think we'll definitely see some more um, see some more dominant performances as we move forward this season. Hopefully, Kyle Larson is a part of those. I think it easily could have been a dominant performance on Sunday at Sonoma if some strategy stuff was different. So I think as we progress through the season, we're gonna see teams and drivers where they're the best, they're gonna lead laps, and they're gonna win the races.
Yeah, Hendrick has just been they've been really good this season. We just need to capitalize and the races we obviously root Larson on. So when something goes wrong there, you kind of fall back to the other Hendrick drivers like Elliott and bad things happen with them too. We saw the Elliott thing where he had a loose wheel and he pulled out, pulled back in, he was out of the stall. I kind of wish Larson did that so he didn't have to face this suspension, but same thing with him, just another thrown away win. And if it's not Larson's race, it usually seems it's Elliott's race in terms of the Chevy. So yeah, just a lot of thrown away races this year, and just need to start capitalizing on those, and the wins will, kind of pour in, especially for Hendrick. They've just been ridiculously fast this year.
Yeah, I definitely think the wins are going to start pouring in for Hendrick. All four drivers have been very fast so far this season. They were fast last year, and I just think it's a little bit. We've talked about it. We've talked about it week in and week out. I think that they need to just get some of this bad luck out the window, um, moving forward this season. So kind of as this is somewhat the halfway point, I would say, of the season, the off weekend. This is the last weekend that all of the drivers and team members will actually have off throughout the rest of the season. So no weeks off here on out. Busy schedule, but do want to say the coverage of the races is going to be shifting over to NBC. We're still not really sure if practice and qualifying where that's going to be. If that's going to be on USA Network or if it's going to be on Peacock, but just kind of wait and see there, Dylan. What do you think? Where do you think that the coverage will be seen for practice and qualifying?
Yeah, I think we will see it on Peacock. So for everyone that doesn't already have a subscription, probably gonna want to go and get that one. But I'm kind of looking forward to it if it is on Peacock. It will be commercial free, I'm assuming, since it is on a streaming platform. So that will be interesting to see. And another thing following this race, we are looking at, as I mentioned earlier, another first time winner this season. So, as the weeks go on, we're kind of looking at the potential for there being more than 16 winners. And there's a lot of drivers still, on the cusp that I think will get a win. There's Blaney, who obviously had the All-Star win. It's not a points race, so I think he could get a win. There's Bell. I think Reddick is due. He's so much bad luck, but I think Reddick could be due for a win. And there's a lot of guys still due for a win, so it will be interesting to see as we head into the last stretch of races if there will be more than 16.
Yeah, it's the same story every year. Everybody's kind of waiting to see if we do end up getting 17 winners in this playoff format. We haven't seen it happen yet, but like you said, there's only 10 races remaining before the playoffs start, and there's 12 drivers with wins, and there's four drivers that are kind of there by points right now. So I do think we have of any year the best chance to break that 16 winner mark. So, kind of shifting away from the NASCAR stuff, like we said before, really don't expect any dirt racing for Kyle Larson over this week or next week. There's been some talk about him going on vacation stuff. Obviously we don't know if Larson's going on vacation or not, but he's supposedly gonna take the next 2 weeks off. But when dirt opens back up for Kyle Larson, he's gonna be at PA Sprint Week. Dylan, we're gonna be there at Lincoln for the first, well, not the first night of PA Sprint Week, but the first night that Kyle Larson will be there. And then I'm gonna go to Grandview the next night, skip Port Royal, and we're gonna both be at Hagerstown. So really just looking forward to those upcoming dirt races. But we will not be having a podcast next week just because no NASCAR, no dirt, really won't be anything to talk about. But Dylan, how excited are you to get out there and watch some sprint car racing?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. I have yet to see a sprint car race. I attended my first dirt race, what was it, last month, maybe 2 months ago at Alltech for the late model. So, I've been kind of itching to see Kyle in that sprint car. It's always a show every time he's in that sprint car. So, yeah, like you said, Lincoln Speedway, that is Monday, June 27th. That's where Kyle will, start his time at Sprint Week. And then we have Grandview on the 28th, Port Royal on the 29th, and he'll cap it off at Hagerstown on the 30th. So, yeah, I'm looking to hit up Lincoln and Hagerstown, and who knows, might end up hitting the others. We'll see. But yeah, just overall, really excited to hit up those sprint car races.
Definitely going to be some good shows there. Kyle Larson is the only non-PA Posse driver to ever win PA Sprint Week. The overall points of PA Sprint Week that was back in 2020 during his season that he was not in NASCAR. Obviously not going to be going for the overall points championship at PA Sprint Week, but Kyle Larson picked up some wins there last year, and we're going to be looking for it again. Just hoping for great weather and some great racing on those nights coming up in 2 weeks. So, Dylan, if you don't have anything else, That's pretty much all I had for today's show.
Yeah, that should pretty much wrap it up. Everyone, stay tuned for, any posts we might have. As Sawyer said, there's really not much going on, but you never know. There could be some breaking news that we may put out, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, that pretty much covers it. We'll see you guys in Nashville next week for that coverage and PA Sprint Week.
All right, so thanks again, everybody, for tuning in and listening to the show. As always, we have our in our description on our YouTube version of the podcast, the Kyle Larson Facebook groups. Go ahead and check those out. We'll be back again in 2 weeks from today to recap Nashville as well as the first couple nights there at the PA Sprint Speed Week. And yeah, so if you're watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please follow our podcast so you don't miss a thing. Have a great rest of the week, everyone, and enjoy the off week. We'll see you in the next episode.